Hello, and welcome to the Darby Creek Diaries. I'm Gail Thompson, and I'm so glad that you're joining me today to make a fun spinner card. I love to make interactive cards, so we're going to spin this globe. I've got the Sizzix World Travel die set by Tim Holtz. I cut two pieces out of glitter paper and then I took the regular circle there and just made some iridescent that is not a perfectly round piece, which becomes important later. But I'm going to take a round piece and have it be just a little bit bigger than the globe but this is going to be a perfectly round piece. But anyway, I digress. It'll be important later. I have some cat scrappiness large alpha dies that I also cut out of glitter paper to save time, and I added a few layers of just plain white scrap paper behind to give them a little bit of lift. And then I took the Spellbinders rectangle fluted classics die just to give my background a little bit of texture, and I'm going to run that through the die cutter, and then I'm going to take my Tim Holtz shattered stamp. Well, first, I guess I'm going to take this shattered stamp. I'm not editing this at the same time that I'm making it, so I kind of forget. But I'm taking some Versamark watermark ink, and I'm just going to lay the cardstock on top. I thought I'd lay something on top, and then I realized I'd get watermark ink all over everything. So I'm just pressing it to make sure that we've got a nice stamp, and then I pull it up. And now there are going to be some spots that I felt were a little empty. They're kind of off screen, but I'm just going to go around and take some parts that I saw were still shiny and tap them in. This shattered stamp, it doesn't matter. You can just, fill in anywhere and it just looks like it's part of the stamp. So I didn't see all that up there in the corner, so I'm filling that in. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I just don't want any blank edges. That looks pretty good to me. I, it's supposed to be subtle, so we are done with that and we're going to let that dry. Now I'm going to run the fluted edge, and it doesn't cut anything, it just makes those little fluted edges. Then I'm going to take some Delicatus gold pigment ink and just run it along the edge just so it has a little something something. You can't really tell it that much, but I get a little chicken. I don't want to make a big old swipe down the front, but it just gives it a little look on the edge. And then I have an A2 size card. I'm going to do horizontal fold, and I'm just making sure that everything is going to line up. So there is the middle part of the globe, and now I'm using the circle die, putting around it to make sure that I've got that in the right spot. Like I said, the circle's a perfect circle, but the globe is not. So that gives me some little issues, but nothing we can't work around. So I'm running it through the die cutter. My poor die cutter. I have a Gemini too, but I just normally run it through my old 25-year-old at least sidekick or big kick, and she's just not cutting through very well. So I think I'm gonna have to get me a new one. But it leaves an indent on the second layer. I didn't expect it to cut through two layers, but it was having a hard time going through the top one. So I'm going to run that back through and pull out that circle piece, and it should be in the exact spot we want it. Now we're just going to layer up everything. It looks good. Just you always want to double check things. So I'm going to layer my globe because I want it to be pretty on both sides. So I got out my sweet petunia. It's you don't know that you want this until you have it. I love my glue press. It does put little tiny dots. So this really had a lot of little fiddly spots. So I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna lay this on it and trying to keep in mind that that circle isn't all the way around. So I had to find because it's just a little bit wonky. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the second side and put something heavy on it. And I really think it's very pretty with that iridescent card. So now we do the spinner part. The first thing I'm going to do is line up my globe. Globes always are tilted, so I thought I'd be scientifically correct. I have no idea why, but it's just the thing. I have some clear thread that I just doubled up, and I'm going to use some score tape because I don't want this moving around. And score tape really does, I mean, it's pretty strong stuff. So I'm just going to lay it down and then tape it to the table so that I can tug on one side because you do want this to be taut. You do not want it floppy, or it won't work. So I am making sure I have this tight, and then I'm going to put my score tape down and just tear off the excess, set it to the side, and then I'm going to burnish it down just a little bit with my fingers, and there is half of our globe. So ideally, I would like my globe to match the way that it's tilted on both sides. So we'll see. I'm peeling up the score tape and I'm going to go ahead and glue the back of the globe here. I hope that you are doing well and enjoying your November. And I'm trying to take a look there and see that I've got things kind of lined up. I could have drawn a little pencil mark or something, but I didn't think of it at the time. So I think I'm pretty good there. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got the tails of my thread out. And then once again, I'm going to plunk my phone on it. Now I'm centering it on the card base. And as I had mentioned, the globe is not a perfect circle, but the Lawn Fawn circle die is. So I don't want it whacking on the side when it spins because on the one side it's a little closer than the other. So I'm just kind of paying attention to that and more score tape. I can't emphasize how important it is to not have this floppy or it just won't work. Now I'm going to glue down our card front and I want to make sure I get some glue close to the edge there. I like this press because I don't have as much oozing because it's super thin. Now it has another tip that is thicker, but I'm too lazy to change tips. I'm not even sure I can find that tip. Now it's time to line up the front piece of my card there. Yay! There we go. And back comes the phone. Now I'm gonna try to fit my letters on. Now anybody that knows me knows I am not one to measure. I eyeball everything, but I really didn't want the joy to be weird. So I didn't really measure it. I just kind of made it sort of a line. And I'm going to plop my J there. I've had these letters for years and years and I've never used them. So I'm so glad I could get them out and let them play for a while. And then of course I knock things around. That looks pretty good. As Gina K would say, it's better than horrible. It could probably be more perfect, but I don't think anyone's going to notice. Now I already put the stars down on the side when I noticed that or not my phone, my camera wasn't on. So now I'm pulling out Oh My Stars by Trinity Stamps because I thought it just needed something else. I really spend a lot of time messing around with this and I didn't want to bore you to death. So I kind of have it where I want it now, or at least where I think I want it. I'm not sure that I would do it the same way again, but that's just me. Do you guys have issues with that? I mean, I just really struggle with embellishment placements. Other people just make it look like it's easy peasy, but we've got them on, and that's how it's going to be now. See how that globe? But it works out. It works out just fine. I got her spinning. Yay! Isn't that pretty? Wouldn't you love to get a card like that? I know I would. And it really wasn't that hard. It looks a lot harder than it is. And if you mass produce these, you could have them done in no time. I hope that you will like and subscribe and come back and see me and tell your friends and play around in your craft room and have some fun. I plan to be back very soon with another video because I accidentally bought the wrong things and I'm going to see if I can make something with them. So don't forget to follow me on Facebook and all the other social media. I'm leaving some links to other videos and I'll be back soon. Bye bye.